Good morning, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are YouTube. Something I've wanted to do for a long time and not got round to is a classic review on the FZR 600. This bike was built on the channel and has been in use and done several thousand miles, but I've not yet reviewed it. So let's do that. Before that, I've got to turn around on a gravel road because I'm an idiot. So why do I always do this? Turn around on gravel roads. Anyone would think I was Paddy Outback.
I'm guessing people wouldn't have got the Paddy Outback reference. Now, if you don't know who he is, search him out, find him, and subscribe. He's a motovlogger down in Australia, originally from Ireland. He's very entertaining. Go check out his channel. In the meantime, so back to the FZR 600. So this bike was never intended to be part of the collection. This was going to be what the Americans term a flipper. You buy it, tidy it up, put some fresh tyres on it and sell it on at a profit. Unfortunately, what happened is I made the classic mistake of falling in love with it. This bike just happened to fit in with my preference for late 80s and early 90s sports bikes. And basically, I'm going to hope to show you why, and why this bike is such a great one to own if you're looking for this type of motorcycle. By the late 80s, sports bikes had evolved to the point where they're not as dissimilar as you'd think to the bikes we've got now. And an old classic 80s and 90s sports bike still can be a lot of fun on the road today. I found personally that with the modern 600s, because they're so hard-edged, they're actually quite frustrating to ride on the road. You can't give them the full beans because you're going to lose your licence even on a 600. And riding them slowly, they're so radical and uncomfortable that they just don't really offer any real satisfaction. I admit and I accept some people absolutely love them, but they're not for me. So what is it about these bikes that really get me going? Why do I love it? First of all, the looks. You can't deny that twin headlight face is an absolute stunner. You look absolutely beautiful, the lines are great, and they don't look like grasshoppers on crystal meth like some modern sports bikes do. Twin headlights look brilliant, the whole bike looks smooth and organic, and it's just something I really love. The other advantage is that by the late 80s, bikes had got to the point where they're actually quite capable. So you don't have the terrible brakes from the 70s, you don't have engines that overheat, they behave in good condition, they behave as they should. Now, one other advantage is that these 1990 onwards FZR 600s have 4-piston calipers as standard on the front, and as a result, the 4-piston calipers off the R6 will fit straight on, which is what's on this bike. I don't know if the eagle-eyed may you spotted, but this does have the 4-piston R6 monoblocks. And these bikes can get a hustle on. There's nothing wrong with the performance at all. You know, that's plenty fast enough. We're on a country lane here, and we've just done that, and we're only just top side of the legal limit, but the bike feels like it's responding and going. So you don't have to lose your licence if you want to open up the throttle. And it was the same reason 400s are often very popular as well, because you can give them the grief without losing a licence or coming to proper. And we're sitting here now at 65 miles an hour. Given the bumpiness of this road, that's plenty. So with the R6 caliper upgrade, they stop really well, but even with the stock calipers, they stop well. If you are thinking of modifying, the easy way to spot the bikes that the R6 calipers will fit is from the original ones. They've got an old school single piston sliding caliper like this one. The R6 brakes are not going to fit. If your original calipers look like these, they are. Incidentally, if you do need a set of standard FZR 600 4-pot calipers, mention in the comment section because I have a pair for sale. So what are the downsides? Well, there aren't many. There is, of course, the one downside is you have to buy with your eyes open. There are a lot of old, abused, neglected bikes out there, and these were a very popular race bike in their day as well, so a number of them were raced. So you've got plenty of ex-race bikes out there, although by now the issues caused by racing should be long resolved because they will have been rebuilt, repaired many times. Look for things that are just generally knackered. You don't want to buy a knackered bike, no one really wants that. Ain't nobody got time for that, as they say. And look for something that doesn't look quite right, because of course these were crashed, written off, raced, abused, and there's probably more bad ones out there than good ones. But if you buy the good one, it doesn't need to carry huge premiums. You're going to get a great bike. What I'd also recommend is don't spend your entire budget in one go. If you've got, say, £2,000 to spend, Spend £1,500 on the bike, which should get you a lovely example. Put fresh tyres on it, change all the fluids, have a look at the radiator. If that's scabby, a new one is only £70. Put a new radiator on it, put new hoses on it. That sort of preventative work is going to keep the bike totally reliable. Sometimes a bike that's been stood can be worse than a bike that's been used regularly. So even the tidiest appearing original bike could be ready for a radiator and some hoses by now. But the handling should be smooth and progressive, it shouldn't wallow, it shouldn't fall to any side, there shouldn't be any glitches in the fuelling. It should feel easy to ride. If it feels strange in any way, there may well be something wrong. Shocks are also something that can wear out, so YSS do replacements for very sensible money, and there's plenty of parts available. Yamaha, like all manufacturers, shared a lot of components with other models, hence a lot of parts from things like the phaser will bolt straight onto an FZR. That goes for those calipers too, you can get them off the phaser as well. So, what's my overall opinion? The FZR 600 makes an absolutely perfect starter classic. It's not going to bankrupt you, it's not going to cripple you. The riding position is sporty, and back in its day it was described as radical. But the reality is it's not actually that bad. Compared to what we have now, it's certainly a lot more comfortable. And it's definitely a lot more comfortable than my old Benelli, my Benelli, that's for sure. So if you fancy classic motorcycling but don't want to go for an old, really ancient bike or you're not sure what you're going to like, have a look at some 80s to 90s sports bikes. We've got the Honda CBR 600, which is always a great option. You can see a review of the F4 version in my channel. There's also a lot of 750s, although those are going up in price really quick. ZXR 750 prices are absolutely rocketing, so those may already be out of budget. But these 600s, people were nostalgic for them because that's what they had after passing their test in the 80s, in the 90s. So there is a good market for them, and I'd like it to be a good investment in the future. If you're not sure, go for something in nice shape. You'll always be able to sell it on afterwards, but you may find this sort of bike suits your riding so well. It certainly does mine.
So what should you look for on the FZR 600? Well, of course, seized brake calipers are always a problem with any old sports bike. This bike has had the R6 caliper upgrade and it's strongly recommended. This bike also wears fiberglass replica bodywork, which is generally in good shape and generally not too bad. But I don't know if you can see on the camera, but you can see here the weave of the fiberglass in the back of it. But that's because body panels are just about impossible to find now. Exhaust can rot out, and while there's a good selection of end cans, there's quite a limited selection of downpipes available, so that's something you need to be aware of. Seats are easy enough to recover, though this one is original and seems to be wearing well. And the usual things you need to watch for, like seized brakes. Beware if the radiator's rotten. It's not a big deal as they are available, but it's something you need to consider, and you can buy them quite cheaply new. Don't pay over the odds for second-hand parts. Always check new stuff first, because you may be surprised. If you're buying a restored bike like this one, you need to know who's done the restoration. Has it been done properly? And are things like chain and sprockets in good condition? A bike that's been taken apart and put back together badly will be worse than a bike that's never been apart at all.
If you like these videos, do hit the like and subscribe button. And from a very bumpy road in Northamptonshire, I will see you soon.